Welcome, Dolphins fans, haters, and everyone in between to your favorite show discussing the greatest franchise in sports, the Miami Dolphins. This is the PhinsPod. My name is Moose, your host, and ladies and gentlemen, we made it. The Phins are not only alone atop the AFC East, but they're the number one seed in the conference nearing the end of September. Mike McDaniel is having perhaps one of the greatest rookie coaching debuts of all time. Tua Tagovailoa is one tough SOB, and Josh Boyer and the Dolphin defense heard our critiques last week and won us a potentially season-defining game in Miami on Sunday afternoon. The Dolphins are 3-0. The Patriots and Jets got squashed, and we finally took care of Buffalo. Got that monkey or buffalo off our back. What a time to be alive. Let's strap up and let's dive in. Firstly, we're going to address some of the excuses being made on Buffalo's behalf because not only is the NFL world shook that the lowly Dolphins are 3-0 and they beat Josh Allen, but the excuses are flying in because these days people are just so invested. The Bills were crowned the best team in the league by the end of week 1, ridiculous, and Josh Allen was anointed the MVP after his loss to the Chiefs in the playoffs last season, equally ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong. The Bills are a great team in this league, of course. But what people missed, even us Dolphins fans to a certain degree, is that our Dolphins are right up there and are ready to make some noise. The first excuse we're seeing come out the woodshed, the injuries. Yes, Buffalo was depleted on defense. They did not have their starting safety. They did not have Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips. But it's not like Miami's offense was entirely healthy as well. Teron Armstead was playing through pain. He hadn't practiced all week. Cedric Wilson had a rib injury, which kept him off the field for most of the game, and Miami was losing linemen left and right. Already without Austin Jackson, Greg Little then went down with a left hand injury, and Miami had to shuffle their line. Kick out Robert Hunt to right tackle, bring in Robert Jones to play right guard. Not to mention our defensive end. We are without Byron Jones, who's coming back in week 5. Cannot wait to see how this defense looks with him back in it. But of course, only the Bills were banged up, right? That's at least what everyone seems to think. The second excuse is the heat. That is the lamest excuse that I've heard in a while. I'm not even going to waste time on whether or not it's a valid one, because if you can't handle the natural elements, you can't handle playing in Miami. And that's on you. It's that simple. The same way Tua has struggled in Buffalo at the end of the season. We don't go out and bitch that, hey, man, put a dome on it. That's not fair. It's not fair that a Miami team has to play in the winter. Shut up. Shut up. It's September in Miami. You guys cannot hang. That simple. And again, the last thing I want to say is Buffalo dominated the time of possession. Josh Allen and the Bills offense had ample opportunity to blow the game wide open. But guess what, Bills Mafia? You couldn't. You didn't. Because this is not the same old Dolphins. Now, the division, as of now, it runs through Miami. The Dolphins have moved to 3-0 after that exhilarating yet incredibly stressful 21-19 victory. We're going to start on the offensive end because the Phins just really didn't get the ball that often. Tua only had 18 passing attempts, but he was efficient yet again. He finished the game throwing for 13 of 18, 186 yards, a touchdown, and no turnovers. His touchdown pass to River Craycraft was gorgeous, an absolute dart. And as each week passes, those voices who are claiming that Uno's got a noodle arm, he just can't get it in there, I don't know if he can fit it in tight windows, I don't know if he can throw it deep, those voices are getting quieter and quieter. And also, give River Craycraft some much-deserved credit as well. I mean, shit, that's back-to-back weeks with a big touchdown in the red zone. He very well may earn himself a full-time roster spot the way he's been balling and stop getting called up on the practice squad because it's clear he knows this offense, he's a good route runner, and Tua trusts him. The Bills did a good job, though, holding Tyreek in check, but again, he managed some big plays when the offense needed it, specifically that big downfield pass to open the second half. The running game once again mediocre, something I think we're going to see improve as the season goes along, but ultimately we're still winning games, so that's what matters here. Mostert struggled. He only had 8 carries, garnering 11 yards. It's not even 2 yards per carry. And Edmonds really wasn't much better. He totaled 21 yards on 6 carries, but the stat that does matter is Edmonds finished with 2 touchdown runs, including the go-ahead touchdown in the 4th. Despite Buffalo's injuries up front, Von Miller was still there, Gregory Rousseau was still there, and Tua, for the most part, was kept clean, aside from the roughing the passer call on Matt Milano. Tua, overall, protected well. Now, turning to that moment in time, right, when Tua smacks his head against the ground, gets up, looks a little wobbly, I ask you this, Dolphins fans, do you believe that Tua is our franchise quarterback? Because you know what I think? I think he is. I want to know what you think, because in that moment, the way the game was going, Miami tied with the Bills, 14-14, the first half winding down, feeling pretty good. I think most Dolphins fans were feeling good about the way we were playing, and then Tua makes that great play on 3rd down to extend the drive, hitting Waddle as he's fading back to the left to help move the chains, but then you see him go down. And then you see Teddy Bridgewater come in. How did you feel at that moment? Did you feel just as confident? Was all that sort of hype internally of, we might do this, was that gone? Because it was gone for me. There was a deflation in the crowd, in the team, and our momentum came crashing down. And when your quarterback goes down in a big spot, in a big game, and you feel gutted about it, maybe you feel that way because your quarterback is damn good. And guess what? Tua is that guy. Because not only has he helped lead this team to a 3-0 start to begin the 2022 campaign, he is 10-1 in his last 11 starts. 10-1. Not including his victory against Baltimore on Thursday night last season as well. He is him. He's a winner. And the sooner you all realize that, the sooner we, together as a fan base, can unite and actually enjoy the ride. I mean, come on. We knew that the only person who would be able to change the narrative on Tua was Tua. And look, winning cures everything. Beating Bill Belichick for the 4th straight time, having a historical comeback against Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson on the road, and then gutting out a big win against the crowned Buffalo Bills. That is franchise quarterback behavior right there. I cannot wait for Thursday night, and I pray that Uno is feeling good. Mike McDaniel said he is sore, of course, but I hope to the football gods that everything checks out and he's nearly 100% for another huge AFC showdown. We're going to discuss that game on Wednesday's episode, but for now, let's move to the unit who secured us the victory, our defense. After a shameful performance against Lamar Jackson, many doubted Miami's chances of holding Buffalo down. Our keys to the game were pretty simple, right? Stop the run, force Josh Allen to keep throwing the ball to the hashes, and limit Stephon Diggs. Check and check. The run game was pretty much non-existent, and although Allen threw for 400 yards, he did so on 63 attempts. Yes, 63. He finished the game throwing for 42 of 63, so pretty efficient, but overall, 63 passing attempts, 400 yards, not that efficient, 2 touchdowns, a costly fumble, and again, a multitude of dropped picks and missed opportunities from Miami's secondary, which Buffalo fans just seemingly forget. A quick little side note, though, that I honestly find very fun. Josh Allen, on those 42 completions, averaged 6.3 yards per attempt. And Tua, the weak-armed guy, right, of those two, he can't throw it deep. 13 completions, averaged 10.3 yards per attempt. So which one of those two is scared to throw it downfield, huh? And we'll get into the specific guys who helped Miami claim victory in our studs and duds segment coming up. But I just want to appreciate, as a whole, our defense's performance. How come the Heat didn't impact our secondary? I mean, they were out there nearly the whole game. How come none of our guys began cramping or being taken out due to heat illness or whatever that even means? Simple. We are the mentally tougher team. Not only does our record prove that, the scoreboard proved it. And anyone with eyes and no bias in their heart saw it firsthand. So proud of the defensive effort. I hope it is yet another confidence builder for our young team as we get into the main stretch of our schedule. Now, to our studs and duds. Our first stud of the game, after being on the duds list last week, I am thrilled to see his performance just a week later, Javon Holland. He finished the game with 10 tackles, 2 passes deflected, 1.5 sacks, a QB hit, and of course, a game-changing strip on Josh Allen, which was recovered by Melvin Ingram. Overall, Holland was a menace all over the field, making play after play for this defense. Not to mention, that orange sleeve he had rocking looked nice. Hope to see it out there again. And more than that, I hope that this is the new floor for the young safety looking to make his mark on the league. Our first dud of the game, Alec Ingold. After a nice performance in Baltimore, Ingold was not nearly as big of a factor as you would have wanted to see this week, especially with Miami hoping to control the clock. But the running game was not very potent behind his lead blocking, and he had an atrocious drop on Miami's first offensive play. It was a beautifully placed ball from Tua along the right sideline, right? He just flat out dropped it. Again, wasn't the worst player I've ever seen, but I expect him to step up and hopefully be more of a contributor in the coming weeks. Our second stud of the game, Jalen Waddle. The man is quickly entering the discussion for top 10 receivers, arguably top 5 in the league. Everyone thought that it was set in stone. Jamar Chase was clearly better, and we'll get to see firsthand who balls out more on Thursday. But for now, entering year 2, with a rookie receptions record in his back pocket, he is trying to show the league he can do it all. Short, intermediate, and deep. Speaking of deep, his deep post route reception from Tua on 3rd and 22 was a thing of beauty. The way he gets up, growls like the beast he is following a big play, just shows how dialed in he is. And I expect him to continue to play like one of the best weapons in the league within Mike McDaniel's offense and working opposite the cheetah. Our second dud of the game, and this one's a bit of a stretch, but I have to give out another dud. What can I say? It's Jalen Phillips. Again, after last week too, because he missed way too many tackles, specifically on 3rd downs, which allowed Buffalo to extend drives. And look, I get it. Devin Singletary is shifty, but you're running up on him, and he has his back turned. He's catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage on 3rd and short. You have to make the play. Instead, he whiffed. Phillips also whiffed on a potential sack. And again, I know Allen is a monster back there, but when you got a clean shot at a quarterback on 3rd down, you have to finish. It's clear he was upset with himself. You could see his reaction. So I do expect improvement as the season goes along, but he has yet to record his first sack of the season. Our final stud, and there are multiple people deserving, from Robert Hunt to Tua himself for being tough and coming back in the game, even Mike McDaniel, right, for improving to 3-0. But the final stud is the man who finished the play to end the game, Melvin Ingram. Ingram has been an amazing signing for Miami. The veteran has been in these moments before. He knows what offenses are trying to do to him, and he combats it beautifully. He not only recovered that second fumble off a strip sack this season, but the hustle and effort that you saw on display at the end of the game was astounding. With Buffalo falling down left and right, their players were passing out due to, exhaustion? Melvin Ingram, in his 30s, came in on that final play after playing many snaps, applied that pressure, almost got to Allen. Probably best he didn't because it forced him to step up, waste those precious seconds, and then dump it off to Isaiah McKenzie. And then from the backfield, from almost making the play on Allen, he then hunts down McKenzie, tackles him inbounds, ultimately securing the victory as time would expire. He's been so solid for Miami. And with Phillips struggling early, the signing is proving to be huge for this defense. Our final dud goes to Raheem Mostert. Not because I think he was incredibly bad, but he showed limitations. He isn't a runner with patience who's going to find the hole and make cuts for each and every yard. That's more Edmonds' style. He's a home run hitter. And unfortunately, although he would probably be better than Edmonds in certain games, he did struggle to get anything going on the ground. Like I said earlier, he did finish the game with only 11 yards on 8 carries, and that's not going to cut it. But like the other duds on this list, I don't expect them to be held down for long. An honorary stud mention before we wrap up here, Jerome Baker. The man is the unsung hero of this defense. He was on the field constantly, being asked to spy on Allen, cover running backs out of the backfield and in the flat, as well as tight ends over the middle. And he played incredibly well, finishing the game with 13 tackles, quarterback hit, half a sack, and a pass deflection, along with a tackle for loss. He has quietly been the engine of the front seven, and I'm glad to see him continue his stellar play in this scheme. Now look, Was this game pretty? No, not at all. But this was not a game Miami was supposed to win easily. The Bills are not the Patriots. They are formidable. And the fact that Miami came out with a win speaks volumes about where this team is. People thought that we'd struggle early, maybe find our groove in the later part of the season, and fight for that wild card spot. But shit, the Dolphins lead the AFC East and are currently in sole possession of first place in the entire conference. I'm not saying that we should expect things to continue to go this well, but hell, maybe we should. All the trauma that we've experienced as Dolphins fans make it hard to be comfortable in this spot, to feel like we belong. There's a lot of imposter syndrome going on. We normally are not a top 5 team in this league, but I'm sorry, anyone doubting us now is just plain stupid. Because Chris Grier built this up the right way. He got the right quarterback, and some hiccups along the way slowed that evolution down. By hiccups, I mean Brian Flores. However, Mike McDaniel, he's leaving his imprint fast, and the team is responding. Fingers crossed that Miami is not too banged up from the game, considering the short week. But also, it's important to note that was a physically grueling game. And yes, it was in the heat, and it's something Miami was used to, but that does not mean that the players aren't feeling it today. And I'm not sure they're really going to get an off day, considering we play in like 4 days. There is a tough matchup coming up Thursday night on the road against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. It's going to be the first time that Tua and Burrow face off as pros. The hype, it's only going to go up from this moment onwards. But let's be real. Would you want it any other way? After beating the Bills, the supposed class of the NFL, would it not taste just as sweet to improve to 4-0 on national TV against the defending AFC champs? Talk about statement after statement after statement after statement. We were praying for a 2-2 start, 3-1 if we were lucky, prior to the schedule easing up a bit coming in October and November. But Miami has every shot in the world of going undefeated in September. And during the 50th anniversary season of the 1972 perfect team, in a season where the Dolphins family carries a heavy heart for longtime member Jason Jenkins, what we are truly seeing is magical, man. Jason would be proud of this squad. Don Shula would be proud of this team. And all we can hope for as fans, as hopeless fans of a team that has given us so much pain, is that magical run that we have been clamoring for, that we have been craving for. As Mike McDaniel said in the offseason, this fan base is thirsty, and right now we are guzzling up the Kool-Aid. I think that that's occurring before our eyes. What say you? How do you feel following Miami's improbable victory against the Buffalo Bills? Was it just another fluke like that comeback last week, or are our Dolphins cooking with gas? Let us know in the comments below, and also be sure to check on any Pats fans you got in your life. Things aren't looking so good for them, and we got mental health awareness. In general, it's positive. So I just want to make sure that the Patriots fans in your life are really easing into mediocrity that I think is going to be the case for them for a while. But the Dolphins, 3-0, undefeated. Fins up, baby. Fins up.
It just goes to show this is why we don't worry about anything. We've had so many lessons these 2-3 weeks. But who's gonna win it for us?
Everybody?
Everyone's getting a game ball for this one. We are 3-0, which was not the goals that we set out, but it's all we can control right now. Okay, so let's get back to work tomorrow, but enjoy it tonight. This was a special one, fellas. They all said you couldn't, and you did.
Hey, quick turnaround, coach said it. We celebrate this win quick tonight. Our goals are bigger than just beating Bills. You know what I'm saying? We know where we want to go. This was just a step to where we want to go. That's how we compete. Let's go. Phins on 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's going to do it for us here today. Thank you guys so much for listening to the PhinsPod. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, as always, to Timothy Ritchie, Brian Guger, Chris, Commander Pig, and Dan Kolbasowski, members of the pod and supporters of the show over on Patreon. Check that out. Links in the description, or head to patreon.com/PhinsPod. Thank you all so much for the continued support over there. And please remember to like the video if you enjoyed the show, and subscribe just so you never miss a chance to chat about your Miami Dolphins. Remember, the PhinsPod's available on all platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and of course, YouTube. Continue the conversation with us over on Twitter and Instagram at PhinsPod. We are going to be talking our shit all week. I hope you all have an amazing day, and until next time, stay safe. Love y'all.